What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode. So in today's video, we're gonna be working on the Mini. Now, this isn't my Mini. That's my Mini. This is my brother's Mini, my older brother. So this is my older brother's first car. It's a 2006 Mini Cooper, regular Mini Cooper. It's not an S like mine, but it's the same color, same body style, black up, pepper white bottom, same kind of thing as this, other than my roof. But it's a nice car, it's a great car, and it's got, I want to say close to 200 or just over 200,000 kilometers on it. Sick door handles. But this thing is basically not a beater, but my brother, he hasn't really taken care of this thing. So before I show you the back, I have a tool. I have a tool that helps me out in so many different ways, whether it be working on the interior, working on the exterior. What I have is very simple. It costs $1 and it works so well. So let me first show you what my tool is. So I have a couple of them. Well, technically 5. Magic eraser. You wanna know why it's so good? Let me show you. So I need water. I have water. I have a rusty and neglected car. Like, it doesn't look too bad now because my little brother, since he got rid of his Golf, he's been driving this for the meantime. But he is getting something a little more fun than the Golf. He's looking into something rear-wheel drive. He hasn't bought anything yet, but he's been driving this thing lately, and he's been just detailing this and at least taking care of this thing a hell of a lot more than my older brother. Okay, so we're working on the back of this thing. So most Mini Coopers, either R50 or R56, they're notorious for finding rust problems underneath the rear taillights. Now, this problem could have been easily resolved because BMW has a 10-year paint manufacturer warranty. So if you have a problem with your paint, bring it down to them, they'll inspect it. If they say, yeah, you're good, they will fix the entire thing completely free, no cost or whatever, other than basically the gas to get your car to the dealership. Now, my brother, he could have gotten this done last year. No, or 2 years ago. It wasn't quite this bad, but it still wasn't pretty, and it definitely would have been basically fixed for free. But because my older brother, he's busy with work and everything, he couldn't find any time to bring it down there. But whatever, that's not the biggest problem. The problem is the rust, not my brother. So what I'm gonna be doing today is I'm gonna be showing you guys how to clean up all of these rust lines, because we have some underneath this taillight, we have some all along here, and it even drips down onto the bumper. And you can see that this is just disgusting. So I mean, it looks like the car's kind of crying from rust. I'd be pretty sad too. Now, what's also sweet about this magic eraser is that it'll take care of all that stuff very well. And if there's also any kind of like little, can you guys see this line right here? It will take care of all of that. It'll remove it completely. No whatever, you don't need to break out a polisher. A simple magic eraser and some water will remove it. So let's first start off with the back tailgate, because that's probably the worst part of it, but there's also spots in the front end. I'm gonna show you guys the whole thing, because it doesn't really take long, but the results definitely speak for themselves. Now, this isn't necessarily going to remove the rust itself, like the actual metal, but if you have any staining on the clear coat, or if you have any other kind of stain, or let's call it dirt, superficial imperfections on the clear coat, this can remove it. So let me show you how. Okay, so we're gonna start to work on this side here. So we do have a good rust hole down in there. There's not really anything that the magic eraser is going to be able to do to fix that. But we're going to be taking care of at least the stuff on top of it, along with all of this. So just grab regular water, spray it on top of whatever you want to clean, and spray your magic eraser down as well. Now, what's really sweet is that you don't really need to do much to get rid of it. So ready? I'm going to do a couple strokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see that it's already coming off. Look at the rust that's coming out of it. So if you just keep doing this until the rust itself is gone, look at that. You tell me, what do you think that says for a $1 product? I would say that's a hell of a good thing. So if you just literally just keep doing this and keep scrubbing, you can remove all of these imperfections. Now, if you want, you can use a polisher to remove all this stuff. But at the same time, if you have a polisher, you need to break the polisher out. You need to get the pads on it. You need to put the polish on the pad itself. And at that point, you're gonna be using a decent amount of product, and it's gonna cost you a little bit to get the same effect done. Now, if you have scratches or whatever, this isn't exactly going to be getting rid of those, but you can remove all of the staining rather easily from just using this magic eraser. So I'm gonna keep doing this to this little area, and we should in theory be able to see basically a whole, basically fresh pepper white surface. Okay, so literally less than a minute later, you can see how much better this looks. So this is an old magic eraser that I used, just spent a couple minutes or whatever to just do this little section, and it basically looks like new paint again. So all those rust lines and everything that came off of here, those are all gone. Now there's not really much we can do for this. I tried cleaning up or using this on the top parts. It cleans it up a little, but there's still not really much else I can do. This section right here needs to definitely go to a body shop to get fixed. What I'm basically doing down here is just detailing. So you can replicate this exact same process from that side to this side. And you can see we've still got, it's not as bad as the other one, but you can still see that we have some rust forming down here, along with the rust lines and everything from the water that drips down. Now, something that I found was actually quite cool is that when you're using a magic eraser, and when you have a white or a light colored car, you can remove all of these imperfections that are on the surface. So see those little gold marks and everything? All that is called rail dust. All these little dots, that's called rail dust. And what happens is when the car brakes, the pad and the rotor, that gets worn down, and all that stuff comes out of the wheel, comes out, and has to go flying somewhere. So because when the car is driving, the back side of the car makes a low pressure pocket, all of that stuff or whatever from the front and rear brakes comes out and that comes up. So you're going to see rail dust found on the back of the car and typically found on the lower parts of the door. So if you come up close, you'll be able to see that there's rail dust on here too. So all these little dots is all rail dust. Now what's cool is that you can use that same magic eraser to get all of that removed. So see this right here? I want to first make sure you guys can see the rail dust before I start removing it. Can you guys see that? Gone. Perfectly cleaned up. Let me show you a worse section here. Okay, see the rail dust? Gone. All over here. That section, gone. So by doing this and taking a couple minutes to clean up and remove all of those rust spots or whatever, you can make the car look so much better. So I'm gonna do the same thing that I did over there for the part over here underneath the license plate and also for the other taillight. Look at that difference. So after everything's all said and done, we can see that our light colored pepper white car now looks to be pepper white. It doesn't look to be like that brown, nasty, gross color that the rust made it after the water has been basically flowing on top of it. Now, the cool thing about the magic eraser too is that it'll remove scratches and scuffs like this. And I'll show you exactly how simple it is. So you guys see this? This right here is basically paint transfer from something. This is dirt? No, that's a chip. So that right there is paint missing. The magic eraser won't get rid of that, but for this, gone. So I would just go around the entire car, and any place that you see that there's paint transfer, grab your magic eraser, and you can see it's gone. Just go around the entire thing. That was a little chip we were talking about earlier. Is that gone? Gonzo. Anything else? Another one down here. Gone. Another one there. So that right there, see how that didn't get removed? That there is a scratch. So just keep going around until the car looks perfectly new. I gotta give it to Luca. He did a pretty decent job going over the entire thing and making it look nice, but he did miss a few spots. So you can very faintly see that there's little rust lines right here on the front of the bumper. So just grab your magic eraser, go over the whole thing, and you make it look brand new. It's really nice, and how sweet you can make this go, because you can do basically anything from the outside of the car. If you see dirt on here, you can take care of basically all of it. And the same thing goes for any kind of imperfection or whatever that you have on the inside. So if you have a scuff or something like that you can't remove, maybe cleaning it or whatever with the rag isn't cutting it, try a magic eraser. Now, if you're gonna do it to stuff on the inside, be careful and try doing it to like a small spot first that's very inconspicuous. So like the bottom part of this, before you just go ahead and start doing it to like the middle part of a seat, that'll be very noticeable. But I mean, you can basically apply this procedure and you can use this for almost anything. It's awesome. This thing right here is my get me out of a pinch perfect tool. So I've got to say, I've got a couple of these things in my toolbox and I don't know what I would do without them. When you're detailing, you don't necessarily need to get an amazingly expensive tool or some kind of crazy high-tech device to get something done. If you can remove a scratch or do whatever in a much simpler and easier way, do it. There's no point in making it more complicated for no reason. Okay, so that's done. That's done and over with. This Mini is taken care of. This one, not so much. But it kind of is at the same time because now that this is done, not like this was a huge project, but this I can move out of the garage now. Now yesterday and basically almost this entire past weekend, I was working on my dad's pickup truck. So he got a new truck for work, and before he was going to go and just drive the brand new truck and use it as a work vehicle, I told him, before you go ahead and do that, let me at least take care of it, paint protection film the car, and CarPro, the ceramic quartz, the paint. If I can do that, like whatever kind of damage you can do at work is gonna be kind of not so bad because there's gonna be at least some sort of protection on the car. Now, my little brother and I, we basically got almost the entire truck done in paint protection film. We haven't ever done it before. It wasn't as bad as we thought. It's not quite the same thing as vinyl wrap, but it's still pretty cool nonetheless. So now I can actually get working on this thing. Now, something else that I did today, now that I have a little bit more time, is I posted up the 240 for sale. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna sell it or not. I posted it up for a really high number. Fingers crossed, I get some bites or nibbles or whatever, but worst case scenario, I might go a little bit crazy with the 240. Maybe. But yeah, we'll get to that. Hopefully, I don't know. I kind of wish it doesn't sell, but I kind of do wish it does at the same time. If it does, I found a car I might be looking at. But right now, there's nothing that's really set in stone. So we're gonna be doing a little bit of work on this thing next. This is gone, and I have an empty spot in the garage. It's kind of weird because I haven't had that in a while. But I really have to get this mini project going because this thing's been apart for a while, and I have a bunch of car parts that came in for it. So I already have a bunch of mods already on the car. Now, I'm not really gonna be going through those, but I am gonna be going through what parts I bought, what parts I'm gonna be putting on the Mini, and what parts I'm basically going to need to complete this thing. So doing a full motor rebuild is one thing. Building it, properly building it with forged internals and basically making it so much better and stronger than stock is something completely different. So I'm gonna be going through that entire procedure and telling you guys what I'm doing. I'm gonna go through basically all of it. So I wanna say close to $5 grand in parts in just like those 4 boxes over there. And yeah, should be nice. I'm gonna show you what I have and we'll go from there. So the Mini over here has been in jack stands for a while. I've got new parts going on this thing soon. So right here is my transmission. This is a 6-speed Getrag manual transmission, and it comes with a limited slip diff. Now, what I mean by that is it doesn't have a proper limited slip differential inside the transmission. What BMW has done is they made different assisting devices external of the transmission to basically make it so that your transmission is acting like an LSD. So like for instance, you could modulate the braking pressure from left to right to act like you have a limited slip differential. Now, that's all fine and dandy and everything, but as soon as you get into high power numbers, that's not really adequate. So you've really got to upgrade that, and that's what I have in this first box. This is a box from WaveTrack, and this is a limited slip differential. I'm going to be opening all these boxes in a later video when I actually have to put all the stuff on the car, but I have this from WaveTrack. I have another box right here. This is from SuperTech. So in this box, I have all the forged internals for the Mini. I've got my connecting rods. I have my not my crankshaft. I have connecting rods, I have pistons, I have my valve springs, I have new valves, I have valve keepers, I have new retainers, I have basically everything for the internals of the motor. Stuff that's made out of metal, here. I still need to get gaskets and all that other weird whatever parts, but at least I have these parts here, and I can go ahead and send the block out to get machined, to get the stuff installed, and I can get some progress on the car. Now, I was waiting for a long friggin' time for this thing to come in, and I'm happy to say it's finally here. Now, underneath that, I have a box from Clutch Masters. Now, I bought an FQ or FX or whatever, 400 kit. This thing is rated for so much more torque. Now, the clutch should be a lot stronger than what the engine is going to be making. So for instance, if you're going to make a car that's rated for 200 foot-pounds of torque, you want a clutch that's rated for more than that, so that you at least have some sort of wiggle room. So even when the clutch, when it gets hot, let's say if you track the car, it's not going to start to slip on you. So what I'm basically going for the Mini is I want to go for around 300 wheel horsepower. The clutch is going to be rated for, if I'm not mistaken, it's around 5. Now, don't quote me on that. I'll find out when I look more into it. But when I bought the kit, I bought the good kit. I got what I needed, and this is going to be more than adequate for the car. Now, I really need to get this project going because even driving my brother's Mini, it's nowhere near as fast or nowhere near as planted as that. But it's got such a good feel to it. Now, there's a lot of guys that hate on Minis, and I kind of get it. Like, okay, it might not look the greatest. It might not be the most aggressive looking car. But when you get behind the wheel of one and you go and hoon it, you go to drive the car kind of hard, you really see that it's not necessarily what you thought it was. It is a quite impressive car, and the chassis itself is quite stiff for what you're working with. It's a small platform, and it's great for modifying. Now, if you want to go high horsepower, if you want to go to 400 or 500 horse, front wheel drive necessarily isn't the way to go. But it's still a really good way to have fun. You can get 250 horsepower, even 200 horsepower to the wheels is plenty in a front wheel drive car. My Mini is rated for 210 at the crank, or 208 or something like that along those lines. And even still, that on its own is a lot of fun. This Mini, my brother's Mini, that needs a little bit of work done to it. This thing has a 1.6, but it's not turbocharged like mine. This is a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. This thing doesn't even make, if I'm not mistaken, I think it makes like 140 to the crank. So if this is making 100 at the wheels, or even 110 at the wheels, that's plenty. So yeah, I really wish you guys can get behind the wheel of one. If you guys are kind of skeptical about Minis, you say, oh, these things are a bunch of crap, drive one. Don't worry about what I'm telling you. Don't worry about whatever. Go drive one. If you can drive a Cooper S, you're gonna have an idea as to what you're gonna have an idea as to what Minis are all about. And as soon as you start modding it, it's like a completely different animal. Let's talk about hamburgers, okay? You can make hamburgers so many different ways. You can use different meat. You can use different cheeses, buns, condiments. But let's say life isn't all about hamburgers and big horsepower V8s. Let's say maybe sometimes you want a hot dog. Let's say sometimes you want a steak. There's different options out there. Don't be so narrow-minded, and you can kind of see that kind of hatred and just narrow-mindedness whenever you go to a car meet. Keep your eyes open. You might not like the build, you might not like whatever you see out there, but just don't be so negative. Give it a shot. Good shifter. Luke has got to replace the shifter cables. But that's where this video is going to end. If you guys have any questions regarding the Magic Eraser, where to get them, what I recommend or whatever, throw your questions, comments, whatever in the description box down below. And I promise you guys, I will at least read through it and I will try to comment to everything. Now, if you guys are not subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, to this one, subscribe. I have a surprise that I'm going to be showing you when I reach 200,000 subscribers, and I don't want to show you guys before that, so that's why I really need you guys to do me a favor and click that subscribe button. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, it takes 2 seconds, doesn't really affect you, but it makes my day. If you have any other tips, throw them down in the comment section below, and I'd be more than happy to help. Again, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.